Hey everyone. Guess what time it is?
What time is it?
Well, you probably know what time it is because you had to click on this video. And you can clearly see down there Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 Glasshouse Films review and everything. But yeah, we're about ready to go see Guardians of the Galaxy Part 2. I'm a little bit more subdued right now because if I wasn't, I would be screaming with joy. I mean, first of all, this is the sequel to, in my opinion, one of the best Marvel movies. But also, it's got Kurt motherfucking Russell in it. Not one of, my favorite actor, who is in some of my favorite movies of all time. And he's in this. And I'm real happy about that.
You're
you know?
super stoked?
I am super stoked. I honestly don't act... Okay, this is... because I knew that I was going to come see this, not even just to review it, I was going to come and see this, I intentionally held off on watching any trailers I could. And the last trailer that I saw was when we went to go see Rogue One.
Is that the last time you saw a trailer?
I mean, it isn't the last time I saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 trailer, but it is the only trailer that I have seen of it.
Okay.
So I haven't seen a lot of footage from this movie because I'm paying to go see it on the big screen. Mm-hmm. I don't want to see it... I mean, yeah, you can see trailers of it on the big screen, duh. But I want to see as much of the movie in context up there as possible. Mm-hmm. To the point that sorry, I'm moving the strap around. To the point that I haven't even listened to a single song or of the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 soundtrack. I don't even know what the soundtrack is composed of. And, I mean, I know it's been dropped for a while. And when the first one came out, I listened to a few of the songs on there. And I was like, oh, I'm going to stop here. This is awesome. This movie is going to be great. This time around, I didn't even do that. I was like, I don't care. I want it to be a surprise every time I hear one of these songs.
I've listened to a few songs from the new soundtrack.
Well, I mean, okay.
But that's because we're different. Like, for me, like, I'm really excited to see this movie, but I'm okay, like, seeing trailers and, like, listening to some of the music just to, like, pump myself up.
My opinion isn't the right one in this case. It's totally okay for people to be like, no, I want to see a bunch of the trailers. I want to listen to this.
I've only seen a couple of the trailers, though, because the first time... So when I saw the first teaser, I was like, I'm not quite sure how I feel about it. But then I saw the trailer when we saw Rogue One. I was like, okay, I'm sold. Like, it just looks like a fun movie.
So when we come back from the break, I will divulge what it's about. Mm-hmm. And we'll, hopefully this will have lived up to my expectations. I mean, they're not wildly out of control expectations. I'm just looking forward to a really fun movie.
Yeah, and it's going to be one of the biggest movies of this year. I mean, I feel like there's 3 big movies, 2 of which are Marvel films, and then one being Star Wars, of course. So
all Disney films.
Yeah, all Disney movies.
But I will say one thing about this. It, by the very fact that it is not The Circle, it has to be the best Carrie and Gillian film of the year.
Hopefully.
I don't know if there's another movie she's in that's coming out. But out of the 2 Karen Gillian films that I know of this year, this one has to be the best one.
Has to be.
Because it's not The Circle. See you after the break. Let's do this!
Just who in the hell do you think you are?
Well...
Awesome! He's so cute.
What's that? He says, welcome to the frickin' Guardians of the Galaxy.
You cried at the end of that.
No, I didn't. Anyway, so we just got out of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume Dose. So what'd you think of it?
I thought it was really fun. I didn't go into the movie with a ton of expectations because I've only seen the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie once, right after it came out.
Yeah.
But, so I wasn't going in there with, like, a ton of expectations. I was just hoping for a fun Marvel movie. And it was. Yeah. It was a fun Marvel movie. I really love the cast. I know you have feelings about Kurt Russell in the movie, but I thought he did a really good job.
Wait, you say that as if I'm also as if I'm gonna go, Kurt Russell is off. No, Kurt Russell did a great job.
No, I'm just saying, like, I thought, like, he did a really good job. Like, the chemistry between everyone was really good. There was a lot of really funny dialogue.
Yes.
It was really, really funny, like, for most of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a few, like, cheesy moments, but they were meant to be cheesy.
Yeah, the whole ball scene.
Yeah, the whole ball
I kind of
thing.
loved that. It's like with just how corny it went.
Yeah, I will say one thing I felt wasn't needed is there were a little too many post-credit scenes.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there.
There were 4 of them.
Yeah.
So stay for the entire credits when you go see it. But it was a little
there was one that's like, ask your nerd friends what that means. And then the other 3 were just, that's fun. That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, the other 3 were pretty fun.
Yeah. 1.5 were, ask your nerd friends what that means.
Yeah, one of them I was like, I don't understand it, but that was also in the movie too.
Yeah. But yeah, I also really dug it.
Yeah.
I thought it was a super well-made film. It was... So one of the things that I kind of hate doing, or I hate when other people say this, is like, it wasn't as good as the first one. That's not this movie. James Gunn was not looking to make another Guardians of the Galaxy. He was making another film. Like, he was taking those characters, putting them in different situations. He was moving it along, and it felt different. I mean, it was still funny. It still had the Guardians of the Galaxy feel, the funny, the soundtrack, the bright colors.
Yeah.
Holy shit,
fun,
this
like,
movie looked
80s
gorgeous.
Colors. It had a very it had a huge 80s vibe.
Beautiful palette to the film. But I felt like he was like, all right, I told the Guardians of the Galaxy story. I want to tell a different story with these characters. And it really worked. So I'm not going to say it was better, it was worse. It was a different movie. I feel like comparing them would do them both a disservice.
It's just, it's a different really adventure that they have. And I feel like you can't rate and say, like, well, the first adventure is better than the second one, because the first one introduces all the characters and sets them up.
And this one, you feel like they've been a team for a little while.
But this one also had some really fun character development.
So kind of going into that. So the story of this is after a successful mission, the Guardians of the Galaxy find themselves stranded on a planet.
Yeah.
And so, real quick before I go any further, I did in the cinema, they'll play other trailers while you're just kind of like getting your food or drinks or whatever. And I had overheard it a few times because we come here all the time. Peter Quill, I'm your father, and it was Kurt Russell. And I was really afraid that was going to be like a super like pivotal moment, like that's third act, like, oh, Kurt Russell. No, this was like the second scene of the movie.
Yeah, it was really fast within it.
It has to do with Peter Quill and his father. Like that. So they're stranded on a planet, and what happens is, so the Guardians are stranded with Nebula, the Karen Gillian, which better film than this circle.
Much better.
And better job too. So the Guardians are stranded with Nebula because of reasons. And Ego, Kurt Russell's character, comes down to the planet. He's like, hey, Peter, I'm your dad. You want to come back to my planet with me? So Peter, Gamora, and Drax
the 3 of them
go with Kurt Russell, Ego, and I forgot the lady's name?
Oh shoot! No,
She's the empath lady who touches people and like understands their deepest, darkest secrets, stuff like that. So those guys go to Ego's planet. That's where they go, and then due to reasons why they're stranded on the planet in the first place, what ends up happening is Rocket, Groot, and Yondu end up being captured, and then Nebula is also there. They kind of go off and are trying to, because Yondu knows who Ego is, they're trying to get back there.
Yeah.
And so the story is kind of split between these two things happening. And honestly, my only real problem with the film is that some of the time when it was bouncing back and forth between the two, it felt a little weird, like a little stilted.
Yeah, or they would show like one scene happening with like one group, and then they'd spend a lot longer with this other group.
Yeah, it wasn't perfectly balanced.
Yeah, it was still really good though.
And yeah, that comes off more as a nitpick than anything else. Was the pacing wasn't divine. Yeah, that's how I feel. It's like, yeah, could have been a little bit better, but at the same time, I still really liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun movie, and it makes me really excited for the next Marvel movie, which is Thor. Because I feel like when watching the trailer for Thor, which they showed it before Guardians of the Galaxy, it has a huge 80s vibe, I feel like. Or at least...
Yes, you're not wrong. Sorry, I don't mean to make that sound like you're wrong.
Yeah.
It's that I can go even more specific as to what kind of 80s that is.
But I'm just saying, like, this Guardians of the Galaxy
80s.
Volume 2 has, like, a big 80s vibe. Not just in, like, the music, but just, like, I feel like in general.
And not like... Not 80s the same way that Stranger Things is 80s.
Yeah, no, I just don't know how to explain
Not where it's like the greatest hits of the 80s. It's early 80s. Like,
yeah, but a lot of that
80s.
is also in how they do, like, the graphics and how they do, like, the text with things and the color.
Yeah, the color especially.
Yeah, but
gorgeous.
I'm saying, like, I feel like with this movie, with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and then with Thor, I feel like just that general, like, early 80s kind of, like...
Yeah,
theme
and
almost.
I feel like because they're going more cosmic, they're like, let's put all the colors of the... We're going to paint this movie with all the colors of the rainbow.
It's not like a dark, drab space movie.
Nope,
like, it's fun,
beautiful.
and it's colorful.
Yes.
And I had a really good time.
One thing that I definitely want to mention before I forget is I don't think this ever came up in the first one, but essentially there's an aspect of the film where they jump. They jump through space. Kind of think of it when in certain other space shows they go to warp speed in a way. But this does it in a very visually engaging way where they essentially like break through a hexagon in space and time and just jump through somewhere and come to the other side. Yeah, and it looked so cool.
One of the scenes
and the way they played
funny.
it for laughs in the movie works super well.
Yeah. It's definitely, I feel like, a movie you're going to laugh a lot for them, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I had a great time. I thought it was hilarious. The acting, great across the board. I feel like I will say, though, I feel like it's now time for the Guardians to meet up either with Thanos or the rest. I want the Guardians to now meet up with the rest of the MCU.
Yeah, and that's what I'm excited for, because I'm excited to see how the Guardians interact with all these other characters that we know. And that's what makes me excited about the Marvel Universe, is you have all these different characters, and they're all so different. And it's going to be really fun to see how they all interact together and how that goes over.
Yes,
I think it's going to be super fun.
Yeah. I want Rocket Raccoon to look up at Tony Stark and go like, "Shut up, ass."
Just like fun interactions with that, or just like how Drax is going to like interact with everyone.
Yeah.
I just think it'll be a fun thing. I'm saying fun a lot, but
I think what'll be really a lot of fun is seeing Thor interact with these aliens.
Yeah.
Because he could very much be like, oh yeah, I've been to your planet. I know who your people are. Especially any interactions that'll occur between Thor and Drax.
Yeah.
Given that they're both, very warlike people, and they come from very warlike cultures. But great film, great soundtrack. It doesn't have like those big 80s hits that the first one had, but that's not to the movie's detriment.
Yeah, there's some, especially the first song in the movie, I guess technically the second song in the movie, you're like, oh yeah, everyone's heard that song.
Yes.
There's some Fleetwood Mac I recognize, which made me pretty excited.
Used super well.
Yeah, super well. I will also say it's fun learning about like Peter Quill's backstory as someone who's not like a huge like Marvel nerd.
Yeah.
Like I've never read a lot of the comics or anything, so I never knew anything about his backstory. So it's fun to learn that. I
meant to actually mention this at the start of the review. I know enough Marvel stuff to get by. I do not judge these Marvel... I assume this is kind of the same for you. I do not judge these Marvel films for how good of an adaptation they are from the comics. I judge them as films on their own right. Just want to throw that out there in case anyone's like, that's not how Peter Quill would act. It's like, no, but in the movies, it is. So just kind of want to throw that out there.
Yeah, it was a fun movie. I thought Chris Pratt did a really great job.
He had a lot to do in this.
Yeah, he had a lot to do. And there were definitely some times where he had to be a little more serious.
Yes.
I feel like he did a really good job.
Yeah, I feel like if he were to be in a more dramatic film, he's got the chops. I feel like in the same way that when Chris Evans is in a more dramatic film, he's got the chops. He has the know-how to really carry a scene.
Yeah, and it'd be fun I think to see Chris Pratt in a more like maybe like in a darker movie.
Yeah.
Like not something that's not as big budget, with maybe not as big stars, like what Chris Evans has done before.
Yeah.
He's done things like that with like what's it called? Snowpiercer?
Snowpiercer.
Yeah, things like that. I think it'd be fun to see where his career goes because we've all seen Chris Pratt in really funny roles, like in Parks and Rec and Jurassic World. And so I think it'd be fun to see where.
Yeah. So go ahead and take that into your final thoughts.
I just thought it was a really fun movie. I just thought it was fun. I really enjoyed it. I loved the color.
Yeah.
Like it's so colorful, and I really like seeing Kurt Russell and Chris Pratt together. There was some really good chemistry between them.
I mean, Kurt Russell can have chemistry with anyone.
It's true.
If we're being totally honest here. But one, I will say, totally worth going into the cinema and seeing it. I feel like maybe even seeing it in IMAX or
that would have been fun.
I don't know if it's in 3D, but if it's in 3D, that could also be really cool to see. But yeah, totally worth seeing in cinemas. And if you get a good enough audience, like we had a pretty good audience. They weren't a bunch of shitbags. And so seeing it with a good group of people is definitely a lot of fun. Yeah. But I highly recommend it from the both of us. Good. So for next week, unfortunately you have stuff to do, but Savannah will be back, and she and I are going to review King Arthur. What's that movie's full name? Like Legend of the Sword?
It's the King Arthur movie.
King Arthur, directed by Guy Ritchie. And I have thoughts and opinions on Guy Ritchie. So stick around. Check that one out when it comes out. Until then, check out more of our videos, youtube.com/glassfilmshouse. Follow me on Twitter @glasshousefilms, facebook.com/glasshousefilms. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.